If you're planning to travel to Thailand from April 13th to 15th, this is Songkran, the Thai New Year festival and the world's largest water fight. I'm Cal, and in this video, I'm going to give you 18 tips so that you can have the best possible time during this wonderful festival. The first and most important rule of Songkran is that you must accept getting absolutely soaked anywhere, anytime during the 3-day festival. The use of water during Songkran started as a Buddhist tradition, with just a light sprinkling of water to symbolize purification. But over the years, the tradition has evolved into a massive nationwide water fight. Once you step outside your condo or house door, it's fair game. If you go out during Songkran, you can't get mad or upset regardless of how much water you get hosed down with. Leave your valuables at home and dress appropriately. You will get wet. But there are a few water fighting rules that you should follow. You shouldn't shoot at people in indoor spaces unless it's a designated water fighting venue. This includes places like malls, department stores, 7-Elevens, and many bars. But pretty much anywhere else is a free-for-all. You'll see groups set up on almost every street corner with super soakers and even garden hoses. And you'll find groups loaded up in tuktuks and pickups doing drive-by attacks. It's total mayhem. But there is a second very important safety rule that you should follow. Don't shoot motorbike or tuk-tuk drivers, as you don't want to cause an accident. And while we're talking about motorbikes, you should avoid using this form of transportation altogether during the holiday. The Songkran period is one of the most dangerous times of the year on Thai roads. And Thai roads are already some of the most dangerous roads in the world, with most fatal accidents involving motorbikes. So make a plan to walk, use public transportation, or get a Grab, Bolt, or normal taxi. You shouldn't shoot at monks. Monks are highly venerated in Thai society, and Songkran is a very important Buddhist holiday. Make sure to respect the monks. If you're gonna participate in the water fight, you're obviously gonna need a water gun, and you'll have plenty of options to choose from. You'll find the cheapest options at big department stores like Big C and Tesco Lotus, where you can find a decent gun for as little as 150 baht. You'll also find lots of guns available at local 7-Elevens, as well as from street vendors that will line nearly every street during the holiday. But you will pay a little bit more for the convenience. You'll also need to choose a specific model of water gun. You might be tempted to buy or order a high pressure gun, but keep in mind that these are actually banned and police may seize them. Personally, I prefer a lower pressure gun. It allows me to walk around taking sniper shots without constantly needing to refill the gun. If you have a high pressure water gun, you'll empty the tank very quickly and you'll spend most of your time around the refill stations. That being said, if you plan to set up a little base of operations around a refill station, it can be a lot of fun overwhelming your opponents with a more powerful gun, which will normally cost you around 500 baht. And speaking of refill stations, in the main water fight areas, you won't need to walk very far to find one. Most often, it's just a couple of garbage containers with hoses running into them. And it'll normally cost you 10 baht to refill your gun, but in some areas, you'll find free refill stations. But you'll need more than just a water gun before you go out. You'll also need to protect your belongings. Make sure to buy a waterproof carrying case. I personally normally buy at least 2, and I keep my phone in one case and my money and keys in another case. This way I can easily access all of my belongings without having to spend any time looking for them. Time is of the essence when you risk getting soaked at any moment. And it also means that you'll have a backup carrying case in case one of them gets damaged. And while I've never had any problems, pickpocketing can occur during such a busy holiday, so I recommend that you keep your carrying cases in front of you and optimally underneath your shirt. And speaking of shirts, while tourists normally normally wear tank tops, you'll quickly notice that Thai people tend to wear colorful floral shirts. This is the traditional Thai attire for Songkran, so if you want to fit in, you can pick up a floral shirt. They'll be on sale absolutely everywhere. But whatever you decide to wear, it's best to wear light material that will dry very quickly. April is the hottest time of the year in Thailand, and temperatures will normally reach into the 40s. And that means that you can be totally soaked and still dry off within 20 to 30 minutes if you're wearing very light materials. And given that it's so hot, you should be careful spending too much time in the sun and heat. All the water fighting can easily disguise the symptoms of dehydration or overheating. It is very common for tourists to get heat stroke and sunstroke during this time of year in Thailand. Take breaks, rest, relax, and drink lots of water. And if you look like me, make sure to put on sunscreen. The sun in April in Thailand is exceptionally hot. But paradoxically, you might also find yourself shivering from cold, especially when the sun sets. And that's because it's quite common for revelers to use ice-cold water for an extra shock effect. Many refill stations will have blocks of ice floating in the middle, and people stand around them hurling buckets of ice water at unsuspecting passers-by. Once you experience a few of those ice buckets, especially in the evening, you'll be watching very carefully to avoid them. But it's not only the ice water that you need to worry about. You may also encounter a white scented powder that's commonly smeared on your face. If you spot this one coming, it's best to make a run in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, the paste burns your eyes and it can be very uncomfortable. If you do happen to get the paste smeared on your face, close your eyes and rinse your face off as soon as possible. If you do happen to walk into a group that's smearing paste, you have to accept it. It's also part of the Songkran tradition. And Thai people will normally just gently wipe it on your cheek, so it is very easy to rinse off. And if you do happen to get it in your eyes, don't worry too much. It'll burn for a little bit. Rinse out your eyes and you'll be totally fine. This has happened to me plenty of times. And the last thing you're going to want to avoid is consuming any of the water. While dirty water is prohibited by Thai authorities and it should come directly from the tap, there's no way of really monitoring this. And even then, you normally want to avoid drinking the tap water here in Thailand anyway. And this can be difficult if you plan to consume any beverages during a water fight, particularly things like beer, as water droplets will almost inevitably get into your drink. Personally, I've never had any stomach problems during Songkran, so it isn't necessarily the biggest problem, but it's something you might want to avoid. And speaking of water safety, I've noticed that shots to the ears and eyes do a lot more damage than incidental consumption. I've had ear infections a couple of times during Songkran, and eye infections can also be quite common. You'll find protective goggles and earplugs on sale at all the stores and vendors. When it comes to water fighting etiquette, you should avoid shooting people in the head, eyes, and ears. And this is especially true for higher pressure guns, which have been known to cause serious injuries, and this is why they're actually banned. And given that it's the Thai New Year holiday, make sure to wish some Thai people a Happy New Year. You can say Sawasdi Bimai. After all, Thailand celebrates the Western New Year holidays enthusiastically, so we should return the goodwill. And remember that unlike the Western New Year, you have 3 whole days and nights for Songkran. I remember my first Songkran in Thailand. I went all out, all 3 days, and all 3 nights. By the end, I was utterly exhausted and slept for about a week. But you can take it even further and go to Pattaya, which celebrates Songkran for a full week. If you have that kind of energy, you'll definitely have a great time. Which brings me to my final tip: choose your location wisely. If you plan to celebrate in the islands or in one of Thailand's smaller cities like Phuket, Chiang Mai, or Pattaya, the water fight will be concentrated in the main tourist and entertainment area. Patong Road in Phuket, Taipei Gate in Chiang Mai, and Walking Street in Pattaya. Just keep in mind that Songkran in Pattaya is normally a little bit quieter on the actual Songkran dates. People normally flock to Pattaya from April 16th to 18th to continue the party. And if you plan to celebrate in Bangkok, you'll have 5 key areas to choose from. First, you have the wide boulevard of Silom, which becomes a walking street during Songkran and is the single largest water fight area in the city. It can be especially fun if you have a little team and you want to fight pitched battles against other teams in a wide open area. Up next, we've got Khaosan Road, which is the backpacker ghetto, and it's very popular with travelers and Thai people alike. While Khaosan is a much narrower street, all of the neighboring streets are also shut down and the whole area becomes a giant water fight. But you need to be a little bit careful here later at night. This area gets very crowded, and last year I was actually caught in a crush. Nobody could move for about 30 minutes, and it took almost an hour to get about 50 meters out of the street. So be careful going to Khaosan late at night. Third, we've got the Siam area, which is the commercial center of Bangkok and provides a very open, family-friendly environment. The pavilion area around Central World has designated water fighting areas. Fourth, we've got Sukhumvit, which is the main downtown area in the city. This area also offers a more relaxed water fight environment. You'll find most of the water fight action in the red light district areas at Soi Cowboy and Nana Soi 4. And you'll also find pitched battles and little water fight areas in all the neighboring sois. So this is one of my favorite areas to just wander around. And finally, we've got RCA, which is home to the biggest nightclubs in Bangkok. With large water-themed EDM events, if you're into clubbing, this might be the perfect location for you. Or you can attend the popular S2O festival, which attracts some of the biggest DJs in the world. If you plan to have a big night out at RCA or even Khaosan, I'd recommend that you relax a little bit during the day. These venues get extremely busy at night, and you'll be surprised at how little energy you have left if you spend all day in the water fights. I've definitely made that mistake and regretted it. But this is the beauty of having 3 days for Songkran. You can split up your time, choose different locations, different venues, and partake in daytime and nighttime activities. And you can have a unique experience each and every day. From my own personal experience, I never seem to get Western New Year right. There's always a lot of pressure on that one New Year's Eve night. Songkran has always been a lot of fun because at least one of the days ends up perfect, and I really think that Thailand has this one correct. 3 days for New Year's makes a lot more sense. Enjoy it and stay safe. Happy Songkran.